Program initiated.
Sorry about that little hiccup there and everything going on. It just was a weird thing. It just was, the system didn't want to take me live. I don't know why it didn't want to take me live. That is so weird. But anyway, here we go. Holodeck 5. Let's talk about resin and filament printing. So, hi, it's Dave here in DCPFX, and like I've said before, if you are new here and you're just checking this out and you just got recommended this one, you give me a like, why don't you give me a sub? I am this close to 1,300, which to me is still phenomenal. You know, after 3 years, it's just amazing. It's very heartening to see that sort of, sort of throughput on things. People saying, yeah, I like this, like this. Someone actually just sent me a quick blurb on something I did like years ago, which was pretty awesome as well. Anyway, what I want to talk about today is I want to talk about filament versus resin printing. Now, I've talked about that, in videos, but I want to do this more in, in a stream, just to sort of talk about that. Now, also too, I'm working with a new camera. I'm working with the Insta 360 link. The nice thing about this, gives me the ability to do this very easily. And of course, it's not doing it for me right now. All right, we'll do it the old-fashioned way. So I can do things like this quite easily using the Insta 360 link and then bring it right back up top again. So that is kind of cool. And also the ability that I can, sort of move all around. I'm not doing it right now, but obviously I could set it up so it does all that. I don't know why that's not working on my thing here. Anyway, talk quickly about printing. Now, if you look at my channel at all, I'm a 3D printer. I'm a big 3D printer. I do a lot of 3D printing. Working on several things right now. Actually, this is something I just started painting up. This is my Percy Jackson Riptide. Just adding the silver touches to it. So I've got the brown and I got the gold, and I'm just adding the silver touches in there. It's going to be done very, very soon, which it'll be great because I just finished the books. I just finished book 5. Obviously, there's a lot more to go through, but I just finished book 5, and that's kind of cool. So the reason I want to talk about resin and filament printing, or filament and resin printing, because that was what it was called, I want to talk about that because there's two different ways of getting to the same thing. But let me just show you this again. So this is the far one, way over there, is resin, and the one closer to me is filament. Now let me just do a top down. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So these are the two here. Now, yes, I painted this one. So this is going into my Voyager's Omni. So this is the globe. Let's put it up there. So there's North America. So this is a resin print. Get this so you can see it. So that is quite nice. Now that's just hand painted. I don't want to make it perfect because I don't need to make it perfect. But that is that. All I did with this was give it a coat of blue and then hand paint the green. This is a filament print. Now, if you look at the sides there, okay, not bad. You get to the top. That's just the print lines. Now I can fix that, but it takes a lot of extra work to do it. So in this case, this particular print made a lot more sense to do this in resin. Same with something like this, which again I showed off on my channel already. This, will look so much better because I'm going to sand this to make it a little more opaque, and then I'm going to give it a coat of alcohol inks. That's going to make it look pretty nice. Now, if I did this in filament, yeah, I could paint it red and green, but it's not really going to do the job I want it to. It's going to look, okay, good enough, but not the look I want. See, now it's working on my touch portal. I don't know why. Weird. So there are some great reasons why you'd want to do one or the other. Now, if you look behind me, and I'll bring this up in a second, all of this here, those are all filament prints. My orb from Guardians of the Galaxy that has the Power Stone in it, all filament printed. And I have magnets to the body so it holds together. So that's really, it's quite nice. I do enjoy that. But that is all filament. Other things that look great still. My Buckaroo Banzai oscillation overthresher. Sorry, I got my Invisaligns in right now, so certain things started to throw off the tongue. I'm working on it, and tomorrow I get another set, so I get to go through again. So that is a filament print. Not completely. So these pieces here and here and this one here, I printed in clear resin, and I just masked off the tops and then painted them gold. Of course, my tricorder. This is all, look at the shine on that. Look at that. And that is a resin print. If I were to take the back off, you'd be able to see in here how much of a filament print this is. But the reason I'm showing all these off is these look great. They're also very robust. And this is also very light. This is extremely light. There's, it's very little to it, but it looks good and it's robust. And I can drop this. I have dropped these, or I've had people drop them. I've gone to various, Halloween things as Star-Lord. I've done that a lot. And people, and what's happened, like this piece here snaps off, glue it on, quick coat of paint, done. And I guess a few other small things. This still needs to be finished. I don't know why I haven't finished it. This is a great little prop. So this is the Earth Final Conflict Global. Let me get this close in here. That's filament. And beautiful. And then, the PS. Now, this is my Star-Lord helmet. And you can tell when you take off, or even just look inside. Let's get this, get some light in there. That definitely is a filament print. But the thing is, I didn't want this perfect that the resin gives you because I want to have it all beat up. Like, look at that. Nice and beat up. I love this prop. This one's so great. So I know what you're thinking. I'm thinking, Dave, we know this. You talk about this a lot on your channel. This is not an issue. Or even my honor sign, filament print. The reason I say that is because it's such a different way of printing. Because look at what you can do with resin. Now this has come off the base. This one I just was showing off a couple months back, and I broke out the base. I'm never going to run the gluing back on. But you have the ability to do that sort of quality. To do that in filament, yeah, good luck even getting that out of, get any support structure. You wouldn't have that happen. And then also the Tour Eiffel, the Eiffel Tower. And so I can get that up here. See, there it is there. Look at the intricate detail on that. And that's all resin. But as I have said, and I will say to the day I die, there are certain reasons why you do these things. So I am currently, right now, working on my Omni. And a few other things. I'm working on a dermal regenerator with Jerry. And that's all in filament. Because I want it to be robust. I want it to be something that's going to be solid. I have lots of other things on the other side of the camera that you can't see. Tons. Like, I've been filament printing for years. I've only been resin printing for 2 years. Got to catch myself. I don't want to do that because this camera, I haven't turned off the gesture controls. If I do that, it's going to look for the whiteboard. And I don't have a whiteboard, so I don't want to do that. Anyway, you have particular needs, so you have a particular way of doing it. So if you want huge detail like this, or jewelry, or even this, my braces on my Invisalign, they're 3D printed using resin. It's a resin. It's a, you know, a body safe one, because obviously, and it is, you know, what they do is when they take the scans, they make the molds from that, also using, there's a couple different processes, but this is all resin printing. You can find actually dental resin if you're going to do that for you know, for a living. There are a lot of people with 3D printers, and all they do is to print out teeth. Oh, so they go in and modify them. So my orthodontist, when he did this, he said, well, that goes there, it goes there. Anyway, you have a need for it. Like if I look at my Star-Lord helmet, and I look at how big my resin printer is, which is maybe that big, size of a paperback book. Not big, not big at all. It would take me forever. Even in that size, it took me a week worth of printing. And a lot of that was prototyping. I had to get the eyes the right size. And once the eyes are the right size, then I knew, okay, because the file I had only had, you know, it was all the pieces, but it was scaled just for generic. I printed just the eyes to start, and they were like that. I went, I can't see through that. And I got them to the bigger, right to there. Okay, I can see perfect. What's that? That's 115%. Print the whole thing 115%. And that's solid. That sucker's not going anywhere. Well, going somewhere on my head. But it is a very rock solid thing. And, you know, it has a heft to it that I like, but also, as I said, it can be very light, because these are only 15% or 20% infill. So as you see, as I'm waving around, there's not a lot to it by way of heft, but it looks really good. I still need to age these. I haven't had the airbrush out because, well, it's really cold out there. I'm currently right now up where I am, north of Toronto in Ontario. We're in the middle of Snowmageddon. Again, something's gonna happen all the time around here. It's January, go figure. So, where was I going? Oh, painting that. I do filament printing when I want something really robust. If I want something that's going to just be there, it's going to last, and it's going to be strong, and it's going to be all these things I need it to be, I'm going to go with a filament print. Because as I have said in my thing, and if you haven't, take a look on my channel. I have a great thing on resin smoothing. Basically what I do is I take photo resin and I paint it onto my my part, and then I have something I can sand. So that's how that gets to be like that. Or even that's easy, that's a flat surface, but it'll go into the sides there. Not a layer line in sight, because that is basically using resin to fill in the print lines. But as I've said, when it gets down to it, you have to know what you're going to do. Now, on the other side of it, I have printed some big things. When I was doing the review of the Creality Hallett Sky from my friends at Mac Solutions, when I was doing that, that's a good, it's like it's a medium-sized printer. I printed up several things for Guillaume. I did, let's see, I did the Dino Charge buckle. I did a couple other things, some of the new stuff, the Dino Fury now? Dino Fury, I did a morpher for that. You do a few things along those lines, and you can do a lot with that as well. But if I'm printing a helmet, I'm printing, even this was, that's a piece, and that's, it's only 3 pieces. No, 4 pieces, because it joins along here. So even that, and that was a day, you know, per gun. To do something like that on resin, I couldn't even do it. Well, maybe I could do it on what I have, but it would take a long time. And you're talking something, you know, that long, and the amount of supports hanging down, it's going to be problematic for that. So that would be something I would sort of think twice about. But to get back to it, like the quality I'm getting on that, I'm impressed at how well this focuses. Oh, there we're fighting there. So I can get up to about 4 inches. That's pretty impressive. So that was just print it and done. Now, it wasn't well supported on the underside. There are some issues there, but I don't care because it's covered. There is a ring. Get this, I've got it right here. This is how it's going to look when it's done. So it doesn't matter the stuff on the bottom. I still need to get, this is the last piece. The other pieces are golded. I need to just basically take the rings off here and take the centerpiece and paint that gold as well, and then do a black wash on the rings. But you know, that's going to be here. I'll do that and I can still spin those around. It's going to be an awesome prop when I'm done. So I guess we really get down to it. It comes down to, well, A, what you have. And the second part of that too is the amount of extra work you need to do to get things going on a resin print. Like filament print. Okay, I printed this. This is the neck, the dermal regenerator. I sent the files to my printer. Well, I put them onto my slicer, which I'm using Cura. And then I put a little SD card in my computer. I said save. I took that SD card out, took it to my printer, and said print. And it made that. And that looks great. Well, for what it's going to be, it's a small piece in the prop in the end. Looks great. If I want to do that in resin, I have to probably lift it off the bed, support the crap out of it. Then when I'm done printing, I've got to take it off the bed, clip off the supports. I've got to wash it in isopropyl alcohol. I've got to then rinse it in some warm water. Then I got to dry it. Then I have to cure it in a curing station. And then probably repeat. Probably give it a wash and then a rinse and then a cure again. So there are a lot more processes. And the thing is, the resin is toxic. Isopropyl alcohol is toxic. Gloves, eye protection, masks, even the print itself as it's printing. You know, I do it in my office. I don't want to do it in my house. I do it in my office because I don't want to have to deal with it in the house. And because I live in Kazakhstan, it is very cold half the year, so it wouldn't work really well in my garage either. So to get started in 3D printing, if you're a hobbyist and you want to make some cool things, I think filament would be the best way to go, because you make a mistake, you have a hunk of plastic you throw away. With resin, you've got problems with the sticking to the FEP or to the tray that everything's in. You've got the cleanup, and you've got all this used isopropyl alcohol, which you then have to take to hazardous waste to recycle, and there's a lot of other things you need to do in order to make all this work. So that is something that you really need to be aware of. And given how I'm making these things, how I'm finishing them off, I think you really can do really well by just taking that. And if you don't even have a curing station and you want to use some resin to, fill in some holes, much like using XTC, which is a product that a lot of people talk about, using that to fill in, lines on filament. You can do the same thing when you're done painting it. Put it outside. Light from the sun, ultraviolet. It will take a lot longer to cure, but it will do the job for you. Now, finally, for me as a prop maker, working with my friends as I do, props like these really are a combination of both. Now, I know when we first started talking about making these in the group, it was like, well, we'll just resin print it. And I just thought, that's okay. Support's going to be crazy for this. And it's also going to be problematic by way if you were to drop it, it's going to shatter. But we hit a happy medium because this, as I said, this whole thing here is filament. Well, that's resin. That's resin. That's resin. In there, that little red light is resin. That's resin. That's resin. That's resin. So you can really split the difference by, get it so it's in focus and not me. So all these pieces are filament and resin together. So all the little things, as we call them in the business, all the greeblies are done in a clear resin, which makes it look really good. Now, I'm just going to turn this on and kill the sound. So you can see that. Get it in focus so it's not me. So there's all that coming through in resin. And it's beautiful. You wouldn't be able to get that sort of clearness, that throughput from a filament print, even if you use clear filament, because you're still laying it down in lines. So I guess the final takeaway from this is if you're going to be printing and you're going to be doing these things, you're going to be, making all the various props you want to make. It depends on what you're going to be making. If you're making things like I make, like all this stuff, like this, there's no need at all for this to be resin. And just the thought of supporting this in resin, it probably would look good, but just the thought of this whole thing in resin, I don't know. I have a few other things that I printed, the Guardians wise, up there. I have the gravity, I guess the gravity trap that it does as well. But, I could do that just as easily in resin as well. I like the filament for the large sizes. I'm not sure if I'm being terribly clear on this. I do so much of both. I'm just trying to, basically have an information session on here's what you can and can't do with it. But hopefully it's coming across as clear for everyone as you're watching this. Hopefully, or it could be my first bad stream. I don't know. So I just wanted to import that knowledge onto you, the YouTuber out there who's looking at getting into things. If you're looking at getting into some printing, I think the best thing you can do, unless you have a particular need that you're going to be working with. I know I'm going to be making jewelry. I'm going to be making earrings, and I want to have it crystal clear. I want to do this and this and that. I want to be able to make some rings that I can then, make a wax mold of, that I can then make the correct molds I need in order to do gold. Yeah, I think resin would be a great way for you because you have that particular thing you want to do. You have that niche you're already fitting into. I'm going to be printing stuff. I don't know what. I'm going to be printing this and this and this. I don't know what it is. I'm going to have some fun with it. I'm going to make some toys. I make this. Look at Filament because it's so much easier and it's a lot more forgiving. I always find the whole thing when you print filament, like this is on the plate, and the plate, here's a vat of resin, dip, cure, up, dip, cure. So you're working against gravity at the same time you're working against everything else. It just always struck me as odd. I remember first seeing resin printing as a concept like 6-7 years ago, and I went, that's odd. I wonder how that works. Now that I've done it, I can understand, but it still strikes me as very interesting. So there you go. That's my take on this, and by no means am I an expert on this. I just have been doing this for, I think I'm at 5 years now. I think I've been doing this for 5 years. My first printer, my CR10S, I think I've been doing it 5 years, and I've seen a lot. I've printed a lot. I have tons of spools. I see all of these files that people have up on Thingiverse and Thanks, but you can take all your old spools and turn them into storage containers. I'm thinking about that because I have so many spools. But yeah. So I think that's about all I can say about this right now. This is, a topic I just want to get out there because I can do a quick 5-minute video or a 10-minute video on it, but this is a little bit more, I can be a little more open, a little more free and sort of go in different directions as I obviously did with this video, but you can do that a little bit better in this format. That's why I'm doing it as a stream rather than that. So that is my stream for today. And hey, for those of you who watch this after the fact, I really appreciate it. And you know what? If you have any ideas that, I wish maybe you can talk about this, maybe you can talk about that, leave a comment down below or send me an email, info@dcbfx.com, and I will get, I'll see what I can do for you. Hopefully I can help out. And it's funny, some of the videos that I do as I'm into year 4 of doing this now, and when I say that, it strikes me so weird, year 4. Some of the ones that take off are not ones I'd ever thought would take off. Yeah, my printer reviews. I always thought that would do well, and my Anycubic Viper is now at 18,500 views. I'm getting several hundred I wouldn't say per week. I maybe about 500 a month. But little things. I did one on Gridfinity, and that's still going strong. That was a month ago, and I'm getting, 1,000 views in the last month. I'm at 1,200 views, and it's just something I threw out there because I thought it was a cool system. Or my LCARS app, which I did 2.5 years ago. Still getting, 300, 400, 500 a month. It's really weird. So I guess you can just say you never know when things are going to take off on YouTube. So there. So that is my stream for today. I don't see anyone here other than Stream Elements, and they're not doing anything because I haven't set anything up. But I know this is going to get washed out to the fact. So if you have any questions about 3D printing, you have any things you'd like to ask me about it, please reach out in the comments below. I will get back to you. If you notice, I'm pretty quick at getting back to you because I get an email saying, hey, so-and-so had a question or someone posted. I'll respond to you right away. So that is today's stream. Everyone have a great day. We'll talk to you